First, let's zoom in on China's expanding presence in the United Nations. To break it down and take a closer look at security risks involved, Steve Lance with NTD's Capital Report was joined by Rick Schweizer, tech strategy advisor and former senior political advisor at the U.S. Department of Defense.
China is not like any other country. Despite their occasional alignment with the United States, China often diverges with the free world and the United States on key issues, pursuing its own agenda. How much influence does China wield in the UN today, and how might this affect the future direction of that, really for many years respected organization?
Yeah, China's influence in the UN probably outstrips our own, to be honest. Their ability to engage with, what oftentimes are called the global South, their ability to sort of partner with folks who've had grievances for a while. And it's not just China. The authoritarian member states of the UN have worked together and to support each other in ways that, unfortunately, it doesn't seem that Western democracies have been able to do quite as well. That's why you find countries like Iran sometimes being on, the Human Rights Commission. And it's because, right, somewhat laughable, right?
I think North Korea was actually on that commission at one point.
The list goes on and on and on. And so, in that regard, the UN, the PRC has been able to use the UN for its own purposes and to gain control of institutions within the UN. And part of that is a function of how we have funded these organizations, but we haven't done the kind of things where we didn't really do a good job, and not just in the UN proper, but in all the UN adjacent organizations like the World Food Organization, right? Again, I mentioned UCITO, right, and others, the other UN adjacent agencies, where they will put their officials in at an earlier stage, and they'll spend a career working in these UN organizations. And so when it comes time to pick a director general, for instance, of these, the Americans are always outsiders because we don't put our folks into the organizations long term. So we haven't done a good job of ensuring that we have sort of real long term capacity of understanding how these organizations work and have folks who can move their way up in these organizations. So it's no wonder that when decisions are made within the actual bureaucracy of these organizations, they do far, far better than we do, even though we fund the UN at far higher rates. Their ability to sort of manipulate and weaponize the bureaucratic structure in ways that meet their ends, we need to address, in a more comprehensive strategic fashion.
Rick Schweizer, really appreciate your perspective. Thank you so much.
Thank you.